You've probably heard of mystery shopping, right? It's this tool that tons of businesses use to get a secret, undercover look at their customer service. But here's a thought. What if the entire idea, the very foundation of this method, is just wrong? Okay, let's really dig into this and see what the evidence has to say. So first off, you gotta understand why it's so popular. For a lot of folks, it's a pretty sweet side hustle. I mean, like this Reddit user says, the pitch is simple. Make a little cash, score some free food. It sounds like a total win-win, and that appeal is exactly what fuels this massive industry. So what is it officially? Well, at its core, mystery shopping is basically a form of observation, where a company hires someone, an evaluator, to pretend to be a regular customer. Their job is to check on everything from how employees are acting to whether the company's rules are being followed. And we're not talking about some small niche thing here. No, this is a $2 billion global industry. That is a staggering amount of money being spent on one single assumption, that this method actually works. The basic idea seems smart enough. You get a real-time snapshot of what a customer is experiencing right as it happens. It's supposed to give you these rich details that you just can't get from a survey you fill out later. But this is where we start to see the cracks appear. And those cracks really start with the business model itself. For all the cash being thrown at it, a lot of companies are starting to realize the return on that investment is, well, pretty questionable. And check out these common frustrations. The feedback from a shopper often shows up weeks late, making it totally irrelevant. Each visit costs a lot of money. And maybe most importantly, employees get wise to it. They start playing this game of spot the mystery shopper, and the second they do, they change their behavior, which completely defeats the whole purpose. And this number, wow, it just perfectly illustrates the sample size problem. One huge brand discovered that their mystery shops accounted for less than 0.01% of their actual customers every month. I mean, think about that. Can you really make major business decisions based on such a tiny, tiny sliver of your customer interactions? So this brings us to the biggest question of all. Let's say you could fix all those business problems. Does the data itself even hold up? Are these shoppers really acting like real customers? Well, the research points to a very loud no. A fascinating study from Cardiff University compared real customer phone calls to a vet with calls from mystery shoppers, and the differences are just night and day. A real customer calls to solve a real problem, like, I need to book my cat Fluffy in. They use emotional language. They're genuinely worried. The mystery shopper? They're on a mission to check a box, usually about price. Their language is generic, scripted. And this chart just drives that point home. Look at the data. Real customers are overwhelmingly calling to make appointments. Mystery shoppers? They're almost exclusively asking about cost. And they almost never actually book anything. Their fundamental goals are completely different, and that changes the entire dynamic of the conversation. So the academic conclusion here is pretty blunt. Because these shoppers can't fake authentic behavior, their evaluations don't line up with what real customers think. And they definitely don't predict how well a store will actually do in sales. The whole premise is basically broken. But the problem doesn't just stop with bad data and wasted money. There's another, much darker side to this practice. The very real and very damaging impact it has on the employees who are being secretly judged. Just let this quote sink in for a second. It's from a service worker in a South Korean study. The constant pressure of knowing that any customer, at any moment, could be an evaluator grading your every move, it leads to incredible stress, anxiety, and even insomnia. That same study identified 5 specific ways this practice actually causes harm. It creates a feeling of being watched all the time. Workers feel judged by standards that can be totally subjective. It could all depend on the shopper's mood that day. They're torn between following a long script for a potential shopper or just trying to hit their sales goals. And over time, this just eats away at their self-esteem and can even lead to physical problems. And if you think physical illness sounds like an exaggeration, get this. An ice cream shop worker actually reported developing a wrist injury. Why? Because during mystery shop periods, they had to use a very specific, rigid, and ergonomically terrible scooping method from the company manual, instead of the normal, comfortable way they'd usually do it. The pressure to perform for a secret shopper was literally hurting them. Okay, so we've looked at a methodology with a shaky business case, data that's deeply flawed, and a serious human cost. And that brings us to the big $2 billion question. Let's just quickly put it all together. From a business angle, it's expensive, slow, and the sample size is a joke. From a data validity angle, the shoppers are terrible stand-ins for real customers. And from a human angle, it's actively harmful to employee well-being. And that leaves us right here. If a system is broken on almost every single level, operationally, methodologically, and ethically, why on earth do so many companies keep pouring billions of dollars into it? Is it just that we've always done it this way feeling? Or is it just easier to have a simple score to judge people by? It's definitely a question worth thinking about.